Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for August 8th. August 8th. Some great things happened on this day, including, let me tell you the holidays real quick. We have some crazy birthdays too as well. But today it's Happiness Happens Day, International Cat Day, meow, International Hangover Day, Middle Child's Day. Those are what's going out to the middle children, obviously. I'm one. National Garage Sale Day, and Sneak Some Zucchini Onto Your Neighbor's Porch Day. Those are the holidays. We have some birthdays today. Rena Mero, Mrs. Brock Lesnar, is 59 today. Shayna Baszler, 46. Zach Gibson, you may not recognize the name, but he's from the Grizzled Young Veterans. He is 36 today. Happy birthday. Hey, interested in roller derby? Want to be a skater, officiate? Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby. If you're into the men's team, it's Flower City Fear, FLOUR, flowercityfear.com. Check them out. We're always looking for help. We are coming, 1 week from today is our last home game of the season for Rock City Roller Derby. It'll be at the Dome Center in the Minette Hall. So come and check it out. I'll be there. I can promise you that. But yeah, definitely that's the end of the season. It's getting close, and playoffs and championships and all that stuff still to come. But we got a lot of things we're going to talk about today here on the World of Pro Wrestling on the Pain Clinic, and I want to thank you for coming and choosing and hanging out with us. And some of the things we want to talk about, a little bit about SummerSlam, obviously. Some of the people who showed up. We got AEW's Grand Slam Mexico. Interesting night of wrestling there. Very long night, too, as well. I believe almost 3 hours. We have debuts in WWE as well as retirements. But first, I want to say hello and good morning to our wonderful co-host, DC Dan Cole from NC. DC, how goes you today?
Not bad, Cash, yourself.
There you are. You are just a voice. We also are joined by from Rochester, New York, Rob Sanderson, from parts of known Rochester. So in general vicinity, if you look for him, you might find him. There's 200,000 people here. What's up, Rob?
Good morning. Yeah, if you can tell me where I am, let me know because I don't know.
So far,
Still unknown.
they're just going to have to look at my face for a while. Sorry about that, folks, but the voices will all be here. I promise you that. How are you guys all doing, Rob? How did ESW go in Buffalo a week ago Friday? I was kind of hoping, we kind of guessing what the updates were, but we might as well ask you, how'd it go?
It was a lot of fun. Solid matches. Butcher and Blade beat Miracle Generation right before intermission. The crowd was electric for them, and then the main event was the third annual Everything to Gain Rumble. I can tell you from a play-by-play perspective, I did not want to know anything, and that certainly was the case because the winner, I didn't even know was there, in former NXT North American champion Leon Ruff. So that was a surprise. And yeah, it's fun. I always love those. We do that one outdoor show at Riverworks every summer, and you get that breeze, and you get those Cheerio smells and everything. It's a good time. So
Very cool. So Leon Ruff showed up, huh? That's pretty cool.
and now because he won, he'll be back in November challenging for the heavyweight title. So
Very cool. Very cool. So had a busy week of wrestling last week, including SummerSlam as well. And then within the past week, the Grand Slam Mexico. I do want to shout out that I was going to go see Chris Jericho and his band Quarantine at the Montage Music Hall here in Rochester last night, but Chris Jericho could not get a flight into Rochester from, I think it was LA he was at, because he was at a movie premiere the night after Dynamite, which would be Thursday night. Friday, he's supposed to be in Rochester. He's still going to be in the area. He's going to be in Buffalo and Syracuse the next 2 nights. And he said that if you guys did buy tickets, that they would be made good. If you couldn't go to Rochester, but you can go to Syracuse or Buffalo, he said, well, it's technically in the area of Buffalo. Irving, I don't know where that is, but that the tickets are good. So if you didn't go because he wasn't there, you can still use that ticket to go see him this weekend. But yeah, I was kind of bummed out he didn't make it. But I was just watching the Grand Slam Mexico with him coming out to in his tights from what 50 years ago or something like that, and wrestling. Uh, in a pretty good match, man. That was pretty solid. It was definitely a lot of fun. But I want to talk before I get to talk about SummerSlam changes and everything. I want to talk about Grand Slam Mexico just a little bit. Am I incorrect that that ring they said never leaves that arena? Did you guys hear that during the night?
That's correct. Yeah, the ring, the barricades, a lot of that is like permanently, I don't know, concrete or whatever. Like it's in place. It doesn't move because I mean that's what that arena is for. So from some perspectives, I mean just as somebody who has participated in or watched a whole lot of ring crew over the years, a lot of that sounds pretty convenient, but also from a physical aspect, the lack of give does not sound great um, from the pain that it could cause.
You know, I thought it looked like a bigger ring too. I mean, is that just was I imagining that? It looks bigger than the regular AEW ring.
I would have to look at it. It might be, but
Yeah, it's and then
I'm not
definitely
sure.
you're definitely right about the not give having a give because and then with all the bumps that were being taken on the apron, man, it's like it was a rough night of wrestling, that's for sure. But yeah, I was just like watching that back. Besides the fact that Christian had the punt, as we'll say, uh,
Yes.
Punt of some sort.
it's punting something something.
I
it
he
was,
shouldn't have, he punted her all the way to next Tuesday, I believe. So it was, yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Awesome. I was gonna say that that was a solid night of TV wrestling, without a doubt. That was a lot of fun. Got to see some solid matches. You know, I mean, uh, I thought that it was not. I mean, obviously they weren't all pay-per-view quality, but man, I mean, as in like matchups and stuff. But man, it was a great night of wrestling on Wednesday night, and tonight they're live too as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they. I didn't see the numbers from it, but I hope they did well. But it also went to like 11 o'clock, right? I mean, every time, I know it says that they were going to go extra half hour. That means I set the DVR to record the extra half hour after that as well.
And then they still went beyond that.
They
Yep.
went they went almost to 11. It was like a couple minutes before 11 when it ended. And it's like, and Lord forbid I got to watch Impractical Jokers, which I do not want to watch. So, you know, if I found them funny, maybe I would enjoy it, but I don't. So that's just me. But yeah, it was a
It's not
solid.
just you.
It's not just me. I was like,
Mm.
I don't get it. It's like, okay, you know what? They made some money out of doing stupid pranks. Woohoo! Like it hasn't been done before. And they're not even half that good at it either. So, but nevertheless, I shouldn't say that. Oops. But I did enjoy. I did enjoy this past week's AEW, uh, and it was without a doubt. I mean, very vocal crowd, very I mean, hell, the first match was a tag match where they sang Edge's music, I mean Cope's music all the way, and it's like they were singing everybody's music there. It was just a lot of big fun night. You guys have any like takeaways from this past Wednesday's Dynamite?
I mean, aside from the fact that was probably one of the better dynamites they've had in quite some time. And, not to sound like a broken record, but getting better wrestling on free TV than you would have had to pay for on a certain provider.
Gotcha.
Four letters, maybe.
Four letter. What about you, Rob?
I really liked it. I mean, this is a good tradition that they're in now. The crowd is just awesome. Um, I would love to see a show in Arena Mexico sometime. But yeah, I mean, I think it was in a lot of ways I don't know, maybe better than their last pay-per-view. Certainly
Oh,
the best,
absolutely.
yeah, the best wrestling show of the past week or so. I mean, I don't know. They totally, I mean, they knocked it out of the park with that. And um, I mean, unfortunately, it's another one of those nights where like I was working on a bunch of stuff, so I got to go back. I have to go back and watch Fletcher and Speedball uninterrupted. But yeah, I mean, it's, we never, like back in the day, used to get like this kind of quality wrestling on TV, especially like in the days when you would save things for pay-per-views. And this is just, I don't, I don't know how you could argue that any other wrestling company is putting together TV shows like this or ever has. I mean, you did not get this kind of. If you're a fan of the wrestling itself, there's never been wrestling TV weekly episodes that are like as good as this one. So, um, I don't know. We're privileged in that aspect. So, yeah, really, really good. I mean, no negatives. And I just have to say, like, I we knew that Mark Davis was good from his tag team days and stuff, but he is just absolutely killing it since coming back from injury.
Yeah, yeah, that was a him versus Osprey in the main event was absolutely insane, bloody mess, Mexico street fight. That was, there's a lot of things that kind of stood out. One, I mean, obviously they had the 8-man tag match with the good guys losing to start the show. Then we had Andrade beating Champa and Commander. And I don't know about Champa taking a picture down his pants with someone's phone. But I did kind of enjoy when he was like dropping an elbow on Andrade's pants, trying to get a 3 count on him. But
It was good, but I didn't like that as much as the pay-per-view when he beat up the stuffed little Yuppie
yeah,
Canadians mascot, but still entertaining.
they built some heat for the women's match at All In by having a trios match with Mercedes and Divine Dominion versus Nightingale and the Brawling Birds. We got obviously Fletcher and Speedball. That was probably, I think, one of my favorite matches on TV. I mean, I mean, just it showed you like Mike, our Speedball man, freaking just sold like a champ that whole match. He did, I mean, some crazy bumps too. We got Mystico, Jericho, and Darby Allin getting a win. Obviously, Mystico big over in Mexico. Persephone defeating Chris Stratlander. I don't know about that. Obviously, they're in Mexico as well. Then we got Hangman Page and Brodito defeating and winning the titles, AEW Trios Championship, and then we got Will Ospreay and Mark Davis. It was virtually a pay-per-view lineup, to itself. So it
Nice
was
to see Persephone finally get a win. I mean, that's something that really should be happening more frequently. I don't know how I feel about the title change, to be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of like impromptu teams winning any kind of tag or trios gold without at least some kind of a build up or something. I feel like it was nice to see them finally put like the belts on the demand and then just they're already gone. I don't know. It seems like it's been a little. There's been times when the trios belts have just like stuck on a team for way too long and they'd never defend it. You couldn't even remember who the trios champs are, and now it feels like the opposite, where it's changing too much and it's like hot potato. So
I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's and I mean, I couldn't tell you who the Ring of Honor trios champs were. Well, maybe I
I
could, but
could.
yeah, I said maybe I could, but
Well, Dalton Castle and the Outrunners, but
obviously, and they
yes.
they did have a TV taping as well going on. I think for Ring of Honor while they were down there in Mexico. I think they did. I'm trying to remember. I remember seeing they had something else going on down there, but yeah, and then like live tonight collision. So we got some, solid, like, see if they can follow up. That's for sure with what, solid. Like I said, I didn't see the numbers yet, but I'm sure that, I don't know. I can't predict the ratings on things just because they've had like excellent numbers for shows that weren't as good as better shows that didn't do as well. So it depends on what's competition. Right now, we're in the doldrums of summer when it comes to TV, and so there's not a lot of like sporting events or anything that will like take away numbers from AEW or even Raw or any of the other shows. So we will see, but I do want to get to my recap of SummerSlam because I know people want to know what happened on SummerSlam. 2 nights of SummerSlam. First night, very forgettable. I think the biggest thing I remember from the first night of SummerSlam was that Brock Lesnar lost to Obafemi in Hell in the Cell. There was no reason to have the Hell in the Cell because everything the finish was in the ring and it involved Brock Lesnar disassembling the ring and Obafemi kicking out of Brock's power bomb onto the wood. Or no, what was it? I can't remember exactly how it ended. I just know that
It was
Brock
a
Lesnar,
tombstone onto
that's what it was,
tombstone
tombstone.
first, but then his power bomb
And the
finish
power
type
bomb
thing.
went on to the. Nevertheless, Brock Lesnar kind of went into business for himself and said that and pretty much let people know that he was done and that this is the future, this is the past, pointing at himself and then pointing at Obafemi. I don't need people forcing things down my throat, so it's like I mean, obviously Obafemi was over, but he was booked.
Weird. It's almost like that kind of happened at WrestleMania.
I think the same exact thing, except for that the boots were left in the middle of the ring. So he didn't do that this time. So, but the big news out of it was Brock Lesnar retired after that. He came on radio after that, or whatever Pat McAfee show is on. Is it radio, streaming, whatever it is, and said that he was done. And, he wants to do things he's probably been doing anyways, because he shows up 1 day a week and wrestles. And then he shows up 3 months later for 1 day a week and wrestles. So he's been pretty much doing what he wants anyways. I don't know. I don't buy into these stories, I'm like, I wrestle once every 3 months, so I don't have any life. It's like, man, there's a lot of people who wish they could be like that, and so he, people asking what he's doing in retirement. It's kind of silly. So, but nevertheless, Brock Lesnar's done. Obafemi, is over. Night one of SummerSlam, like I said, we got Punk beating Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton coming out, RKOing Cody Rhodes. And then, obviously coming in and explaining it last night, saying that, Cody Rhodes wanted him to be the best Randy Orton he could be when he wrestled at WrestleMania. And Randy Orton took that personally, he said, and he thought it was arrogant of him to ask that. And, obviously it's going to create a series of fights between them. Yay. I don't care, to be honest with you. The second night of SummerSlam, lots of different things happened on the second night. One, Kevin Owens is back. I may have called it last week. I know that I said Randy Orton and Kevin Owens should be showing up sometime this weekend, and both did. Kevin Owens winning a fatal four-way, and he gets a shot at the Undisputed Championship, which later in the week they decided was going to be the 14th of August, which is next Friday, I think. I think that's what it is. But Kevin Owens, by the way, and I know I texted you guys, you probably didn't see it, but you really got to catch that promo that with Punk and Owens last night, because Owens just said, I mean, it's like he came from AEW and they let him talk, because it's like some of the things he says to him, about how, I can't remember them ever having a rivalry before Punk left. Do you guys ever remember Kevin Owens and Punk ever having
No.
a, no? I can't remember them ever. But nevertheless, they a lot of water under the bridge. That's what they were saying. And so,
I mean, they didn't like each other. I don't know about on TV with the major company or whatever, but going back to Ring of Honor and stuff, I mean, there's a list of people that did not care for CM Punk. And maybe one of the reasons I always liked Kevin so much is he was one of them. So
well, you got to listen to what he says, where he goes, you say this stuff so much, you actually start to believe it. Like you're the best in the world. He's just going off on him last night. I loved it. I mean, I'm sure that was decided in advance that they were going to go in that direction. But man, I tell you, and CM Punk kind of started pulling some heel tendencies. He's like, he goes, well, I am the champ. Doesn't that make me the best in the world? And then he proceeded to say, how ungrateful Kevin Owens is, because Kevin Owens, the reason Kevin Owens is in WWE is because things that Punk did to have him come in, because they weren't taking independent guys. They weren't taking, unless you were 6'4" and muscular, they weren't taking you. And so he was like, he kept reiterating that. And it's like, it was definitely an interesting matchup. They're good. And they end up getting heated at the end and pulled apart and whatever. But I hope that Kevin Owens beats him, because Kevin Owens, when he came back, and he was a surprise, obviously. It was supposed to be two people against each other. It was going to be Sami Zayn and Finn Balor, and then right before the match started, they brought out two more people, and then it was like, so it became a fatal 4-way. And I liked the match a lot better. It still only went 8.5 minutes, but Kevin Owens did win. The interesting thing after that is then we had Baron Corbin and Trick Williams, and Baron Corbin beat Trick Williams to win the WWE United States Championship. So to me, Trick Williams hadn't held it very long. He held it long enough to make it a fuzzy title. But somehow Baron Corbin goes over, and then he went over last night on SmackDown. They had a rematch, and but he did it the same way. Obviously, Corbin hit him with a belt and then got the 3 count, but that's neither here nor there. But I just thought it was interesting that they were so hot on Trick Williams, and then they take the belt off, and then some people are saying, well, he's the kind of guy who doesn't need a belt. It's like, is he? I don't know. I felt, because you know what? I bet you that guy
Baron Corbin is?
Yeah, I bet you that guy can't ad lib, because I was watching him in the ring, and it's like on the fly, I don't feel like he is, a well-rounded professional wrestler. I mean, a five tool guy. Yes, he can wrestle. He can do that stuff, but does he, you got to watch him in the ring. You can, does he, is he able to, feel the crowd when he's out there wrestling? Is he, I don't think so yet. Because you watched last night's match, and I didn't feel the magic there that I was getting with him and Little Yachty, and, and all his great promos, but nevertheless, he's lost twice now to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is why would you give it to this guy, United States champion? The guy, I don't think he ever held a belt, did he, when he was on the run before?
Yeah, I think he did.
Okay, he must have. Yeah, he must have, because I know he was like, he's also done so many different things when he was in WWE. He was, was it Happy Corbin? No, he did.
Constable Corbin, King Corbin.
Yeah, he did a lot.
Take your pick.
He was a GM for a while too. So the best part, I think, of the entire night on second night of SummerSlam was Chelsea Green winning the 5-way ladder match for I believe it's no longer interim WWE Women's Championship, because last night they introduced her as the WWE Women's Champion. I think that's because Rhea Ripley had surgery and will be out more than a few months this past week. And she was trying to do it without having the surgery, but they just gave up and said, okay, let's have the surgery. And so, and Rhea Ripley kind of was a little bit upset about that, because she's like, I've never had surgery my entire career, and now I have to. And it's like, they didn't say specifically what was wrong, but it definitely was a knee problem. So it may have been a torn meniscus or something like that. They thought something that you could rehab through, but obviously you can't. So, nevertheless, Chelsea Green wins the title. I love it. She came out and had a party last night, to commemorate her winning the title. I'm just scared, because she was such an interesting character without a belt. I just hope it doesn't change much. You guys happy? I mean, what do you think about Chelsea Green being the women's champ now?
I love that they made her champ. My concern is, I know they were only going with her as an interim champ, so my worry is they're going to take it off her immediately.
Yeah, like I said, I think that they're going to make her the permanent champ, and I guess until Rhea comes back, and maybe they'll reiterate it as
That would shock me if she got to be champ until Rhea gets back.
Well, I guess they're saying, I don't know, like 3 months, maybe, or more, for Rhea to rehabilitate whatever the issue was. So that's why I'm thinking it's just a meniscus then, I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll get more specifics as we go on, but I know that,
It's got to be more than 3 months, unless it's just a scope. And I don't know if she would have like that full leg brace and everything with that. I'm very happy for Chelsea Green. I only saw the clips of after with, Matt and her family celebrating and stuff, but obviously she's somebody who has put in the work everywhere, and I mean everybody in and around the business is always cheering for her. So that's I should find a way to go back and watch that match because definitely happy to see that happen for her.
Yeah, especially with like, like Jade Cargill, Charlotte Flair, probably were odds on favorite to win it. Tiffany Stratton in there, but Tiffany Stratton already has a belt. So yeah, it was in Lash Legend who, I,
Oh, a champion fighting for another belt in wrestling.
yeah, impossible.
What a what a what a great idea that never ever happens with all these companies. God,
Yeah.
it's got to stop.
So then, so after that, we had to cleanse the palate a bit, I'll say, Dominic Mysterio versus Danhausen with human monies on a pole match. Which yeah, pass. I would say pass, but it was, I don't even know what the monies were, but he was handing it out at the end, and I guess it was like $1 million bills with Danhausen's face on them. Some of them was real, not all of them were, that's for sure. So if you guys saw, Super Troopers were there the whole second night there, and those guys they did a whole bunch of skits backstage during the night. They didn't show them on TV, but I just went and watched like a reel of them on social media. Funny stuff. If you like Super Troopers, it's fun. They pull over Danhausen in his coffin mobile or whatever the hell it is, and uh, give him the once over. So that and Javon Evans, but some funny stuff out there. That movie does come out this weekend, I believe. So then we had Chad Gable defeating Penta for by submission for the singles championship. That was great, except for the fact that
Don't do it.
except for the fact that
The
Muggs
WWE can't help themselves.
they gave him a root beer, and then they had the Muggs root beer mascot on the ring apron celebrating with Chad Gable, trying to do maybe I was thinking when I was seeing it, is this like a Kurt Angle milk thing, or a Steve Austin beer thing? But I was really hoping that Chad Gable was going to take the mascot out, or someone was going to pull the head off and it would be somebody else, very Scooby-Doo-ish, and but no, they kind of just stuck with that, and they sold the sponsorship to A&W Root Beer for the champion to take someone handed him the can and opened it, and
They just can't help themselves.
his family was in the
Not
ring with
everything has to be a marketing opportunity, especially something like that. A great moment. He finally wins his first singles title. He has his family in there. He's doing it in front of his home state. No,
Yeah.
let's throw a freaking guy in a bulldog hat and give him root beer.
That was so dumb.
That encapsulates everything that not everything, but most of the things I hate about WWE right now.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it's like, I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. Why is there a mascot on the ring apron? It's like, I was watching the pay-per-view, by the way, the second night with Murph and Danger Boy. They were both over here. We were watching it together. And it was like, I think we were talking when all that crap was going on, but I stopped and just started staring at it and was like, what? Nevertheless, that was the last match before the main event. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. And you could almost say Dean Ambrose's ghost was there too. Maybe because it felt very Shield oriented, especially when they started with the Shield introduction, and then at the end, obviously Roman Reigns beat Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was all sad in the corner, and Roman Reigns came up and put his fist sideways, and Seth Rollins put his fist up against him eventually and put down, it looked like he had a mask in his hand or something. I guess that was supposed to be representative of Dean Ambrose or John Moxley or whatever you want to call him. It was, I don't know if it was the death of the Shield, or it's like, I mean, obviously as long as John Moxley is working someplace else, you're not going to see him in WWE, though we did see him in quite a few of those videos leading up to this match. I mean, obviously archive stuff, but I thought that was real interesting because it's like, man, I'll tell you, if they ever signed him away, that would have been a perfect time to debut him. That's for sure. But it was definitely, overall disappointing SummerSlam, even though WWE, I mean, it was, obviously even those discount $25 seats, which I saw many, many pictures on Twitter or X or wherever you want to call it, of people sitting in those $25 seats, and you couldn't see anything from where those seats were. And it looked, and it's like we thought that obviously the technical crew can make it look like it's packed, absolutely packed, but only showing certain angles. But there was big empty sections behind and camera side of a 60,000 seat auditorium that only had 30 something. They never once mentioned the
Just
attendance.
say you'll never know because they didn't announce the attendance number.
They never once mentioned the attendance. It's because they had a hard time selling it. It's like, I don't know. I don't know about these two
Yeah, the
days.
company that loves to tout attendance and gates is incredibly quiet right now.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, obviously they were so busy. They didn't have time to announce it, I don't know. But it just, it felt like it was like you could have got one solid show out of that and maybe drawn 50 or 60,000 to one show instead of doing 2 nights. I don't know. It was I mean, there were some high moments, but overall it just felt, that first night really, I mean, I liked to see Nick Aldis wrestle. I didn't even mention that in the first night. We got to see Nick Aldis, and he obviously he has $1 million body still, even though he wears a suit every week on TV. Mickey James and his son was in the front row, and they kind of celebrated with him. I don't know. Also, Solo Sequoia is definitely over as a face. That definitely is a change in plans. I think he was kind of getting over, and then they realized that people are cheering for him, and so they have to do something with it. I don't know. It was overall. I mean, the first match of the night was Liv Morgan and Io Sky, and they have Liv Morgan beat Io Sky. Io Sky is probably the best women wrestler in the world. So, but yeah, that's it. That's it for SummerSlam. Now on to whatever their next one is. I'm not sure. And actually, our next one to talk about is All In. Obviously, it's not that far away. Less than a month, that's for sure. At the end of the month, so we're super excited about that. But it
3 weeks
definitely,
from tomorrow.
yeah, it's coming. It's coming, and that's why like the Grand Slam Mexico was a great supporting character for the build up to All In. There's things that did happen that will affect All In. Obviously, Andrade being in the gauntlet match there after winning away in and stuff. We had what'd you guys think about MJF coming back last week? MJF kind of coming in and ruining Andrade's moment.
I liked him coming back. I mean, how could you have a show in Mexico without MJF?
I know, I'm surprised there's no riot.
The only thing I didn't like is I really hope they're not going with this I'm the true champion storyline. I hate stuff like that.
Well, he had the belt in his hand, so
Yeah.
the triple B or whatever he calls it. Yeah,
The real world champion.
the
Yeah.
real.
I
Oh,
hated seeing the belt. Good for him to be back. Obviously, he has to be a part of All In. And I like that it certainly appears that we can confirm that he's not going to be like squozing into the main event or anything. Have him do something separate with Andrade and everything else going on there. Like I think it's there were a lot of rumors that he was coming back this week. I don't know like how bad the injury actually was or whatever, but he was definitely kind of a missing piece for the last month or whatever. So perfect place to bring him back.
well, that and somehow he's in a movie too that's going to be coming out soon. So you wonder about injuries slash reality behind being booked into a new movie. But yeah, that I think that was a super that was I'm glad he's back, and I know he's got to be involved somehow. He did get his ring back from Andrade. That I guess that's a good thing because I liked Andrade having the ring, but he never really used it like obviously MJF would use it. So, but so
I mean, I'm all in on this Andrade push and everything. My only complaint is go back to his previous music. His old theme was so good, and I hate that they changed it. But
yeah,
or if you wanted to put a "How You Know" intro in front of the old music, that's also fine.
gotta do it like kind of like you don't know me or whatever the
Oh yeah,
I would, that'd be, obviously that's what he leads to in all his promos now. So, and people are waiting even anywhere, obviously in
It's
Mexico.
it's over. It makes me nervous that they're like going to jump the shark with it or whatever. Like immediately it was t-shirts and every promo and now the theme song and stuff. Like I don't know. It we'll see how long it lasts. If it's a forever thing or if it's a 2 month thing or what. But
Speaking of jumping the shark, remember you weren't here last week when we talked about the horrendous Danhausen, Joe Hendry segment that was on Raw a couple weeks ago, and it's funny is that Joe Hendry commented on it on some show that he was on, and they all acknowledge it was a disaster. Having Danhausen play some sort of pipe. I have no idea. And then having the little Danhausens come out, and then the dancing girls and stuff like that. They kind of acknowledged that. I think they don't want to ruin his push, which is maybe not to do anything like that again. But I do want to mention Big Cass made his debut this past Monday by beating up Javon Evans. I guess that's a start. The interesting thing is he did not come out with the real one, no Enzo, which everyone assumed Enzo was going to be part of this, but right now he's not. So, I mean, listen, a Big Cass, solid wrestler. I mean, I think everybody does kind of remember when Enzo got hurt and Big Cass had to wrestle singles for 7 weeks until Enzo could come back, and how impressive he was. But that was a long, long, long time ago, and it's like, the current creative in WWE is just terrible. It's when Trip. I don't know if you guys. Rob, you probably weren't here, but DC and I talked about it last week. Was Triple H was being interviewed about? He was being interviewed about. I don't know what the question was, but he ended up saying something about how he goes, if you spent 99% of your time, hating the bad guys instead of the guys who are writing this, things would be a lot better. And when he said that, it's interesting. He's basically putting the blame on the fans for the bad storylines of WWE. Did you hear something? I know I'm kind of paraphrasing it. It wasn't exactly that, but I mean, you can find the interview. It was on a post, was it post pay-per-view? I think I can't remember which night it was or what pay-per-view it was, but I don't know if you heard that or not, Rob, but I thought that was interesting that Triple H is blaming the fans for the storylines not getting over. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, they just keep doing the same old thing, and you have to listen to the fans, and there's a lot of things for them to be unhappy about. And I mean, even just what you kind of mentioned there a moment ago, like that Danhausen Joe Hendry thing, like having Ryan Garcia get involved and then being posted everywhere and stuff. Like, do you want to piss off a very large percentage of your fan base? Yes, they do, because they do it all the time with stuff like this. There's plenty of people that absolutely are going to change the channel if they see Ryan Garcia on it. So,
Well, the funny thing is, if you don't follow boxing or the promos they keep jamming down your throat and in the commercial times, you don't know who this guy is. I mean, and why wouldn't he get in the ring before
So then you Google him and you're like, oh, this guy's actually a piece of you know what?
yeah, he definitely
he's
is
a perfect fit for WWE and all of their associations with other things that I won't get into. But
yeah, that's the
Other
thing.
types of punts.
I was watching that and I was like, who is this guy? I know that they panned over him in the audience when they're doing their love fest with who's famous there, that some of the people I've never heard of before. He was one I've never
At
heard
least Busted Open Radio was in the front row.
of. Good for them. You
Tony
mean
Khan never did that.
WWE radio? That I kind of took a little
they
bit
are
of
busted. Yeah.
I took a little offense to people, you know, WWE, someone, Nick Khan, or is his name Nick Khan? Yeah, came out and said that they can continue doing a radio show. They won't be editing the content. And the first thing I
Oh,
said was BS. You know, it's like, yeah, you wait till they spend an hour talking about AEW, which they don't talk about AEW at all. Wait till they do an hour talking about it. Wait till all the hosts are replaced with those goofballs that they have from New York City that host their pre-shows and stuff, you know?
wasn't their first show as WWE Radio the morning after the AEW pay-per-view that they then did not mention a single time,
You
even
are
though they
correct.
always used to? Yeah, but nothing's changing, liars.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I kind of took offense to them, you know, after Nick Khan had put that statement out or whatever. It's like, you know what? Listen to somebody who doesn't have any influence, like maybe us, you know. I'm just throwing that out there, someone who doesn't get paid by WWE or paid by AEW or anything. So, and it's like maybe we might have friends in places, but I'm not, that's not going to stop us from talking about everything about stuff, you know. So, yeah, but that whole Danhausen thing that led into Triple H blaming the people for not booing the bad guys. Uh, it's
Yeah, booing the bad guys is not going to like make the product better. Like people are upset at the creative and the company, and yet he thinks like, oh, well, things would be better if you would just boo the bad. No, like because then you're just going to keep doing these terrible booking decisions and stuff in addition to your terrible business decisions. Like you should be happy that you have fans that are still paying exorbitant amount of money to show up and give you their opinion.
Oh,
I
you know
just
what? You know what? That reminded me that his response came out of the complaint from somebody in WWE who said you guys book the same four people in main event positions every match, every pay-per-view, every show. And
yeah.
that's when he started going off on the fans. That's when he's like, well, if you just, if you booed bad people, the bad guys, instead of worrying about the writing, it's like, oh man, Triple H. You know what? Like I said to like I said to DC last week, in every sport, a general manager and a coach get hired and then they get fired someday. And I mean, and it's like I think we're
Wait,
way past the hired spot for Triple H now, you know?
did Triple H say that on WWE radio?
It was on
There was
Or,
some kind of press conference or
yeah, it was a press
something.
okay.
conference. Yeah, it was a press conference.
Okay.
Maybe it was up before
And
summer.
so it wasn't on the actual state-run radio. It was on
No.
a press. Okay, yeah, got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did people were allowed to ask questions. And that's when, people, quote unquote, media were allowed to ask questions or ones that they approve of. And so I just find it very interesting that, be that the case, it's like, you know what, when your numbers start dropping because they're, they're not pulling the numbers that, that $5 billion, uh, 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 $5 billion paid for the rights to show on Netflix. They're the ones who are like, hey, we thought you were going to be drawing more. And that's why we're getting all these damn commercials, which really is the worst. You pay for a standalone service and they still fill you full of commercials. But that's a TKO thing. And I think TKO, that's their handprints have been on a lot of things that happen in WWE, I think. And I think that they're not getting the appropriate credit for making changes and things that we do not like. I think Danhausen is a big deal. I think TKO loved him and they just wanted to keep inserting him everywhere they possibly could. And it's like, unfortunately, you're going to burn them out. And that will happen very quickly if they keep doing what they're doing with him. I'll give them credit. They did not have him on SmackDown last night. So, uh, you know, I will say that much for it. They kept him off one show, but yeah, it's you know, I have a feeling that like WWE, remember when they went to Fox and then Fox is like, well, we're not getting our investment worth, when they went to SmackDown on Fox. And it's like, that's why they did not re-sign them and everything. It's like, not that they're selling a book, they're selling numbers. They can, how the way WWE spins everything. to make them look better, and
It's like they're best friends. Yep.
yeah, their attendance, their how much money was made, and we didn't get that at all on this past weekend, so
When they get to the point where they can't even spin it, it's a problem.
yeah, one thing I wanted to mention when I didn't forgot it when we were talking about our new women's champion WWE is in Unreal season 2 they had Chelsea Green had like this little thing with Michael Hayes, and they've been kind of
Oh,
playing it up in the social media a little bit about how he didn't feel he didn't feel she was worth the investment and for the to push to the women's championship or something like that happened. It was one of those backstage things, and so she's like he's the first person she texted after winning, but obviously he probably was sitting in the gorilla position because if you've watched that show, he's like at every match he's in the gorilla position, you know. But I did want to mention that. I want to get some news before we get out of here, but uh, there was what else do I want to talk about? Lesnar retiring, cast debut. Yeah, I think pretty. Oh, we had some call ups this past week. I still don't agree with the term call up, but you're going from one channel to another. We Tatum Paxley and Lola Vice from NXT both have been called up, and last night we saw Tatum Paxley come out and save Charlotte Flair. Now Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are back. Alexa Bliss is back from injury, has a different look a little bit. I'm not sure if I like the look she has. But anyway, it's okay. It's not that significantly different, but it's more, definitely the Bray Wyatt version of Alexa Bliss more than the pigtail cheerleader or whatever. But Alexa Bliss came out to save Charlotte Flair, and then Tatum Paxley came out, and Tatum Paxley, you might remember, is from the NXT, definitely got called up. Lola Vice had a match on NXT this past week. It was she has these no ring post brawls or whatever they are, and it's the first one she lost in NXT, and then she said goodbye apparently because she's dating Damian Priest, and I'm guessing she's going to get called up to one of the shows. She is absolutely gorgeous woman, so and she's definitely deserves a call up. She's been down there too long already, so. But I did want to mention that those folks are debuting, and we saw, like I said last night, we saw Tatum Paxley. We will see Lola Vice probably sometime soon. But let me jump into the news. Also, so this is I've got lots of previews for wrestling. If you're going to watch Collision tonight, this is what you're going to get, and it's live, so I'm not ruining it for anybody. Okay, Eddie Kingston versus Jake Doyle in the Continental Cup Tournament first round match. Claudio Castagnoli versus Ace Austin in another Continental Cup Tournament first round match. Orange Cassidy versus Matt Sydal in a Continental Cup Tournament first round match. And TBS champion Maya World and Hyan versus Persephone and Hikaru Shida. This will be live from Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor World Arena. So that's tonight, 8 o'clock. You tune in to on TNT. That's live. If you're going to watch this week coming up on Dynamite, we've got a few matches. This will be Wednesday, live from Las Vegas, the Pearl Theater at the Palms. And they're also going to be taping Collision for next weekend. So I'll make sure that I do not give away anything if it involves results. But if you're going to watch Dynamite this week, you're going to get AEW Continental Champion Jon Moxley versus Jack Perry in a Continental Cup Tournament first round match. Now, Continental Champion Jon Moxley is already a Continental Champion, so he's taking on Jack Perry. But I guess is it when this tournament ends, then they get a shot against the Continental Championship against Jon Moxley?
No, the winner of the tournament is the new champion.
Oh, okay, never mind. I wasn't sure because I've just read all the brackets. So we got Jay White versus David Finlay in the Continental Cup. And we got MJF versus somebody for the second entry to the Casino Gauntlet match at All In. And that's going to be, like I said, live Wednesday in Las Vegas at the Pearl Theater at the Palms. And like I said, they're taping August 15th Collision also. And that'll be on Wednesday as well. So if you're going to watch SmackDown week, which would be this Friday, you're going to get Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes for the WWE United States Championship. You're going to get Tiffany Stratton versus JC Jane for the WWE Women's U.S. title, which is held by Tiffany Stratton. And Baron Corbin, by the way, is the United States champion. Damian Priest and R-Truth versus the War Raiders versus the MFTs for the WWE Tag Team Championship. So that's a lot going on. I probably should have started the show by talking about Dory Funk Jr. a little bit. Dory Funk Jr. died this past week at the age of 85. He's going to have, if you know, he's going to have a private ceremony, but there'll be a public memorial service on Thanksgiving Day. So that keep that in, you know, write that down in your calendar. But he had been in hospice before he passed away, and I just wanted to shout out that Dory Funk did come on the show a long time ago, and I can't even remember why he was on. I think he was doing he was having independent wrestlers come down, and he would train them and evaluate them and stuff like that, because that most famous known for a lot of the guys who are in the main events now in wrestling have gone through Dory Funk's training school. I think it was like a 2-week deal. But he definitely, you know, Terry Funk, of course, died a couple of years ago. Dory Funk passing away as well. It's kind of like sad time, but he was a great wrestler. He trained, I mean, Kurt Angle. He trained a ton of people that are, you know, became main event and still are wrestling today. So, you guys have any thoughts on Dory Funk passing away? I mean, it is sad. Either of you guys ever meet him?
Never met him. Yeah, honestly, not. Can't say I was a fan or, you know.
He was a 70s dude. He wrestled for the NWA in the 70s and then became a trainer. And, yeah, he was like a lot of guys who are wrestling now kind of are guys who were like, you know, main eventers 10 years ago, like, watched NWA, WCW stuff. And I'm sure, you know, Dory Funk was there. I know he did the territories as well. He was in Texas. He was all over the place. So, he sent his best out to his wife Marty, who was on with as well with him when he came on. But it's a sad day. That you know that he passed away on Tuesday at the age of 85. So, some other news that I didn't talk about. Oh yeah, TKO issued a press release on Tuesday that announced the WWE Royal Rumble will be held in February at the State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. I believe that's where the Cardinals play. Did not say it's in the United States. It's a big plus, number one. Number two, they did not mention anything about multiple dates. So that's one thing we're all worried about, you know, is that that's going to happen.
And they had Dana White make this announcement. That's not weird at all.
Why they're doing it? They're doing it because it's going to be like a UFC one night, WWE one night, and they're going to do PBR, professional bull riding, is going to be happening too. 3 companies that TKO own. That's one thing that kind of makes me sick a little bit, is hearing Dana White all over wrestling now. It's like, listen, Dana was really great in the beginning of when UFC was on their way up, but man, I've had enough of him. I mean, I don't need to hear any more from Dana White. You know, yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, that was a big deal. That because they're trying to do these package deals now with UFC and WWE. I bet you someday that TKO is going to realize that WWE is probably costing them more money to keep than to let go, and probably sell it to somebody. You know, I'm just a prediction in the future, just because it's like, I think that they're the ones who dictate the ticket prices and all the other things. And obviously it was a big eye opener in Minnesota last weekend when they couldn't get 30,000 in a 66,000 seat stadium, you know? So I don't know. Yeah, I'm waiting to see what those official numbers were, because I figure they probably sold a few extra tickets when they made them $25 each, you know. But that's neither here nor there. So I mentioned MJF's going to be in a movie, so it's called Violent Night 2. They ran. I saw there was a trailer on Tuesday. It's an action comedy starring David Harbour. He played Santa Claus, I guess, in the first Violent Night movie, where Santa Claus is a Viking warrior, immortal Viking warrior. I don't know. But I remember when the movie came out, because anytime they take a Santa Claus and turn him into a killer, a lot of people are up in arms. So that's for sure. Some other news: Dragon Lee, WWE's Dragon Lee's hoping to avoid surgery. So he suffered a torn ligament in his thumb, and it looks like he wants to remain active and try to work through it instead of having surgery and being sidelined for several months. So he's actually, I believe, did I say he was wrestling on Monday? He's definitely wrestling coming up sometime soon. I know I saw his name on the list of things, but so uh, so Dragon Lee, thumb's kind of a messy thing to flirt with, man. If maybe you should get the surgery, but it's the old school deal where it's like you don't want to take time off TV because people forget you, and unfortunately that's the truth. So I've got the whole list of the AEW Continental Cup field. It doesn't really matter to go through it because most of them will be on TV, most of these matches. But I mentioned a few that's already happening, the Vegas and Colorado Springs. Then there's a few other first round matchups that are going to happen that they haven't put where they're going to happen yet. You're going to see Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. That ought to be interesting. Hechicero versus Brian Cage. Nigel McGuinness is taking on Shibata. So those are some that haven't been announced when we're going to see them, but those are the first round matches. It's nice to see Nigel McGuinness. And by the way, I did want to mention that Nick Aldis came out to a Oasis tune, much like Nigel McGuinness. So I think is that like a automatic buy or automatic pass? If you're from the UK, you can come out to Oasis music. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those unwritten rules.
Yeah.
If your company is willing to shell out the crazy amount of money, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That's for
I
sure.
I don't know how it works between the Gallaghers if they get an equal cut of that money or what, but
usually the writers are the ones who get the most money, the guys. So if they have a writing credit on it, good for them, So WWE is Roman Reigns is going to be showing up. Believe it or not, they're having a Mexican City arena show coming up September 14th. It's going to be a Raw. And they're going to have a tournament before then that will whoever wins the tournament gets to wrestle Roman Reigns on that Monday Night Raw. And the tournament starts this Monday with Penta versus the Laredo Kid. And then I don't watch the AAA show, but it's on YouTube, I think. And so the AAA from the 15th, which would be 1 week from today, you got Psycho Clown versus La Parka, Dragon Lee. That's where I saw Dragon Lee's name. 2 weeks or a week from Monday, not this Raw, but the following one. Dragon Lee's taking on Dr. Wagner Jr., or should I say El Hero de Wagner Jr.,
the son of Dr. Wagner Jr.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of Dr. Wagner Jr., but not.
Junior. It's a long way to. Man, I hate to say his name 1,000 times if you're like calling his
Like
man.
a George Foreman thing.
Well,
Yeah.
he probably still has the Wagner surname, but maybe it's he just doesn't have his doctorate yet. That could be it.
Nevertheless, he's taking on
Can't be a true junior or a third if you don't have your doctor yet. If doctor's your name, yeah.
Intern de Wagner Jr. No,
Internist.
And Ray Phoenix is taking El Fiscal. That will be those two last matches are going to be on Raw a week from Monday. And one of those guys I just mentioned, the winner will get to take on Roman Reigns when they have the September 14th Raw in Mexico City. Very interesting. So we mentioned Hangman Page, Bandito, and Brody King are the new AEW World Trios match. They're dubbed the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And of course, Brody King said, "Who's the ugly?" I don't know. But they defeated the Demand in a co-main event of AEW Dynamite Grand Slam Mexico. You might have saw that. That was pretty cool. That was a good match too. It was a fun trios match, and led up to the main event. So Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. Bianca had the baby. They had their son on Tuesday. They took to social media, did not announce the name. Oh, they did announce the name, Romeo Leonardo Allen Crawford. So that is the new baby of Bianca Belair and Montez Ford. Let's see.
Real quick, I have to go back. So you mentioned Adam Page and Brodito, the new trios champions.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things in AEW is the long running gag of Hangman's kind of lower third on all of his entrances. And did you
Yeah.
catch this week's?
I did
Yep.
not.
We're worried the sombreros might be problematic.
Yeah.
It's a fair worry to have in
It
2026.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
I get you. I get you. So that's good. I'm going to go back and watch it because I was just watching. I'm watching it while I turned it on this morning, and it's 3 hours long, so it still was going on up until the 2.5 hour portion ended, and there's still half hour to go. But that's funny. That is definitely interesting. So I don't know if you guys see this, that Brock Reichensteiner, the son of Big Papa Pump, he was suspended for 6 regular season games on Thursday by the NFL. They haven't disclosed why, but the 23-year-old Reichensteiner, who is trying out for the New Orleans Saints as a wide receiver, will be allowed to practice and play in preseason games before his suspension locks in. So Big Papa Pump's son looks like he got popped for something, whatever six games is. But I saw a whole story about him where if he gets cut, or his other option is immediately to go WWE and tag with his cousin. So and it's like that might be happening way sooner than not. But do you guys see the story about that? About it's barely a wrestling story, barely,
It's not a wrestling story.
No, but I did
Although
see
it does make me wonder how he can still do like all the preseason stuff, including preseason games. But
maybe
can't do
he
any
like
regular season stuff should you make the team.
maybe he tested positive like 6 months ago, and then he tested clean the second time, and so they're like, okay, well, you're clean now. But I'm guessing it may have had something to do with anabolic something or another's, just because his
Oh, that's
dad.
all natural.
Yeah, right. His dad. Holler if you hear him. There you go. Run for your life. Got
He
two
failed the NFL's math exam. I think that's what it was.
I know there was a math joke in there somewhere to be
Steiner
made.
math. Yeah. There
Uh,
we Boom. All right. So there's another wrestling. This is a wrestling story, believe it or not. There's a couple more still here, and then we'll get out of here. There's new court filing that revealed the full financial breakdown of the settlement in WWE's shareholder lawsuit involving Vince McMahon and several current, former company executives. According to a report from Bloomberg Law, McMahon and his insurers will pay $42.5 million towards the resolution of the case. Total settlement amount is $147.5 million, with WWE parent company TKO contributing $105 million. TKO is expected to recover $75 million in its portion through insurance coverage. The lawsuit was filed by a group of WWE shareholders against McMahon, the president Nick Khan, Paul Triple H Levesque, and some other of the former co-presidents, George Barros, Michelle Wilson, alleging that WWE in 2023 sale and merger process was directed towards Endeavor in a way that would leave McMahon in a favorable position following the transaction. The case was set to go to trial earlier this summer before the parties reached a settlement shortly before proceedings were scheduled to begin. There's another lawsuit settled before any law action happened. We talked last week about the NDA stuff with Vince McMahon and the charges against him and the lawsuit that followed that as well. But now, so
Almost like if you're rich, you never face any consequences.
apparently not. But if $147 million is not a slap on the hand, but it's amazing that you can be insured against doing something illegal, collusion. That's basically what it was. Is they didn't feel that WWE, the shareholders didn't feel WWE when they put the company up for sale, had any other intention beyond where it went, and so they didn't they didn't take any bids from anybody else who may have wanted to buy it, which I don't know if it's I mean, when you sell your company, it doesn't matter, but I guess when you have shareholders, it does. So, so that I thought that was an interesting story. So unfortunately, Vince McMahon will not spend time behind a clink for any of these things going on. And who knows, may get involved in wrestling again someday. I mean, definitely his mind is missed. That's for sure. But beyond that, nobody wants him back. They interviewed a lot of people and in the company and said nobody wants him back. So, you know, whatever. And so some other news during the latest episode of Grilling JR, Jim Ross said he's scheduled to undergo brain surgery Wednesday, August 12th in Norman, Oklahoma. They're going to be putting a shunt to help drain excessive fluids from his brain, with Ross noting that the surgery comes after he spent more than a month hospitalized between May and June. So we wish our best out to JR. His contract is coming up. I know he kind of posted about that recently. It's kind of tough. You know, it's kind of tough for a company when he really has done one announcing match in the last year or whatever. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I'm sure Tony Khan will treat him well and probably give him something, you know. I don't know. Put him in the AEW Hall
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, something. I'm sure they ask his opinion on a lot of things because he definitely has his opinions. So
I mean, they I've seen a bunch of people saying that he should call the Osprey Omega match, which I think is ridiculous. You're not traveling him to England. You're not giving him the biggest match in like company history. No. I think what they should do is do a special Dynamite themed like for him. And he can call like one match on that or whatever and just have a bunch of his friends and whatever there and stuff. I mean, that he deserves like a show like that. And I feel like it would be cool to do that. Kind of like a tribute show, but a tribute show to somebody who's alive and could be there and could participate and all that kind of stuff, and call maybe his final match or something like that. Bring in, Lawler to appear or say something about him or whatever. Like things like that, I think would be cool to do. So.
Oh, I agree. Something, honor him. I mean, WWE will. I mean, Jim Ross is a WWE Hall of Famer, I believe. So,
Just make sure it's people he knows their names, or at least give them note cards.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's not calling someone that kid.
Yes, that was still frustrating to think about. Poor Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Didn't know much about him. He must not watch his own programming, One last piece, and then we'll get out of here. Buddy Matthews is on his way back to AEW. He suffered an ankle injury in February of 2025, and sidelined ever since. Back in May of 2026, he appeared in an Australian promotion and got physical in the ring, noting at the time that he expected to be officially cleared to compete by October. He took to Instagram this past week and said he's been cleared for action. So good for him. Good for Buddy Murphy. Good for Rhea Ripley's husband. Buddy Matthews. Sorry. Whoops. I was using his WWE name. Good for all those guys. Definitely. I'm glad to see him back. He's a guy who had a floating ankle, and they didn't think there's a chance he never was going to come back. So, that's great news. Hopefully we'll see him soon. You know what? Maybe I can't remember. Was he with Aleister Black when last time he was on?
Yeah, he was House Black.
Aleister Black's still a free agent, just in case you ever.
Tommy Inn is a free agent.
Yeah.
There's no. Don't bring him back to AEW again. Just saying.
I'm not sure how it ended, but it didn't sound like it ended great. So it's like, I believe he asked for his release. They gave, I don't know, it's like Andrade, then they're gone back, and now he's doing better. I mean, who knows? Maybe lightning can strike twice. Speaking of striking twice, Motor City Machine Guns are now back. Obviously, Rob, you weren't here last week when we talked about that. I'm sure you're happy to see that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still kind of think that they should have popped up on Dynamite as a teaser for then Collision the next night, in terms of like tickets and ratings and stuff. But that was a fun way to debut them, right at the start of that collision, and how great that Detroit crowd was for that. So looking forward to seeing them, get into some actual action there.
So who's next to make a debut in AEW?
I don't know.
Ooh.
Another. Ooh, ooh.
Mm,
Ooh.
yeah.
When is that going to happen?
I mean, it could happen as early as this week, could it not?
Are they going to? Yeah, I mean, I think they're available.
There's part of me that wants it to not happen until All In. Um, one of those situations where they get added to a match right there and people aren't expecting it or whatever. I guess kind of like what they did to introduce the Hardys when they came back to WWE at that WrestleMania. But we'll see. I mean, one way or another, everybody knows they're going to be there this month. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, after the wearing the New Day themed clothing, the question is,
well,
do they get to keep their names, or do they got
Hell
to?
no.
no.
We'll get
Yeah.
Austin Creed, and I don't quite know what we're going to get from Kofi.
I was
Some
Austin
people have
Creed.
said that like Kofi might just be Kofi with no last name. Legally, that might fly depending on like the specific trademarks and stuff.
His real
But
name. It's his real name, right?
right,
Kofi. Yeah.
right. So you can't block that. In terms of the team name, I don't know. Tomorrow, I don't know.
And
Call him
the
Booty.
newer day.
The newer day. Bootios. The
The
team.
old night.
The old night.
Yeah. I
We'll
don't know, and
figure.
I mean, there was so much talk for so long about like, oh, All In would be uh Edge and Christian and the Bucks and New Day and Motor City Machine Guns and this and that. And
Still hoping
I
for
think
that.
I'm at the point now where like there's so many different matches you can do that we don't have to only think about All In, but I think at this point I kind of like the idea of keeping just Cope and Cage against the Bucks as a match, and then you can do something else with all those other tag teams as a separate match, maybe. But like the Cope and Cage versus the Bucks, just 2-on-2, like I feel like that is big enough. It should happen kind of like that.
I just don't feel like Cage and Cope can hang in a match with the Bucks. That's my only
Wow.
concern.
Huh.
Um, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be, to me, I guess it's part of the ongoing campaigning that I feel like I'm doing with a lot of wrestling recently. Like, there's going to be so many matches on All In or whatever. Like, don't feel the need to have that match go 22 minutes. It can be over in a solid 10 to 12. So I don't know. We'll see on that. I feel like that is the dream match in a lot of ways that I don't need a bunch of other teams in that.
So the question is, do they start teasing them with like some vignettes that don't really give it away, so that people, uh, I mean that.
Now, everybody's going to know regardless. So
Yeah, but
if you are bringing them in, make it a complete surprise.
I was going to say, but there's people who probably won't have a clue because they maybe they don't follow the IWC, or what IWC chatter,
I
you
don't
know.
think you have to follow the IWC to understand that one of the most successful tag teams of all time in WWE are free agents, and you know they're going to land somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. But you probably could sell a few more tickets if you like tease something's going to show up there nobody's expecting. So we will see.
Well, that's an interesting debate too, because like they are they are draws. They will bring in TV ratings, all of that stuff, no doubt about it. In terms of like All In, for example, if you if you don't already have enough of a reason to buy a ticket or buy the pay-per-view without them being announced, I don't really think they are going to push you over the edge. Like if you're a wrestling fan and you're thinking about going, like you're going anyway. Like everything else that's going to be on that show, I don't feel like you need that extra motivation of that. I just really want to see more surprises happening in wrestling as opposed to we got to announce this because we got to sell tickets or we've got to get the ratings and all that kind of stuff. That again, that's what I liked about the machine guns just showing up on Collision and seeing, it's one of those moments where I went back and watched the clip of that like first 3 seconds when their music hit, like when the name went up on the Contron and everybody's reacting. Like those are the moments in wrestling. Like, yeah, people were excited to see Stone Cold Steve Austin back in the day, but when like the glass shattered and you were not expecting it, like that was when it was crazy and fun.
True.
So
Did you call it the Contron?
the Contron, yes. The same way I called the ESW screens the Mednictron. I don't know if we have Josh Trons for 2CW next week or not, but yeah.
Tell me about, both Rob and I probably witnessed this, DC. There's an air show going on in Rochester, and the Thunderbirds have been flying over quite a few times this week. And so I wasn't sure this morning if it was Thunder and Lightning or the Thunderbirds this time, because it was really dark when we first started doing the show, and now it's kind of brightened up a bit outside. But yeah, there's this crazy, in the Rochester area, there is this air show going on, which you got to put the earplugs in or something because it's very, very loud. I'm sure it's louder from where you are, Rob, because you're closer to the airport than I am. Oops, parts unknown. Sorry. But I wanted to throw that out there. I want to throw that out there. I also want you to hit that hit that 2CW show coming up before we get out of here.
That is 1 week from today, Saturday the 15th, in Watertown at the arena. First time back at that arena since over a decade. Looking forward to being back in there. A lot of memories there, but 4 o'clock meet and greet, 6 o'clock show, appearance by Kurt Angle, both at the meet and greet and during the show. You've got Watertown's own Jay Freddy taking on Dalton Castle, X Division champion Cedric Alexander against Don Freeze. Anybody out there who, if there's one person that I would say, if you have not seen a match of them on the indies, you should look it up. It's Don Freeze. He's incredible. We got Mike Skyros taking on Eddie Edwards. Matt Taven is back to take on Cheech. Mercedes Martinez in her final year is taking on Allie Catch. And the Backseat Boys, the new generation, Tommy and JP Grayson will debut against the High Seas, Cloudy and Captain Nick Ando. Couple more matches, definitely some surprises that are going to be a lot of fun. 2CWlive.com has all the details. That's in Watertown 1 week from today.
Awesome. That's the first of 3 shows, right? I mean, obviously the other ones aren't that week.
First of the 3 that we have announced at this point, but yeah, like I said, it's I mean, we're at the point now where it's no longer a reunion. We're back. So we got the 3 shows this year: Watertown in August, Binghamton in September, Syracuse in November, and more information coming about those other 2 shows very soon. But we announced Binghamton's got The Godfather and Jimmy Hart, and Syracuse has Spike Dudley. And like I said, a lot more coming on that very soon. But I mean, next week's show is just, I mean, that's ridiculously stacked. I could say like I was putting together a full match card graphic that will be posted today, probably once we get off the air. And it was very difficult for me just putting it together in terms of how do I order these? Because honestly, every one of them could be the main event. And like, I don't know, I always feel weird picking like which one goes on top of the other and stuff like that. That I asked for an opinion or 2 on that because I didn't know.
Make the big guy tell you that. The guy, this 2CW owner guy, make him do that.
He's going to tell me just to figure it out myself. So that's how it goes. That's fine.
Folks, I want to give you a little bit of background on 2CW. I remember 2CW coming on with us on the pain clinic when we were still in Midtown Plaza. Okay. We would have, that's a long time ago, man. Or they'd give us Spike Dudley whenever he was coming to town. So it wasn't that long ago. And we had Josh on too as well. So it's like this is great. This is good for wrestling in New York without a doubt. And it's exciting if they're going to be doing more than 3 shows. So that's even cooler,
Yeah, I mean it's like there's only limited spots on every card, and I guess that's the one thing that's like been really nice, at least in terms of trying to put these shows together, is that we've got 3 of them, so can try to get more and more of the people that we want. And if in that situation, unfortunately, like there's not room for everybody we want on every show that's available and stuff. But yeah, I mean the first 2CW show was 20 years and a few months ago at this point. So there was that hiatus when the company ended, and we did the reunion shows, a few of them in the last 5 years or so, and then and now it's just back. It's full speed ahead, and I never ever anticipated this. In fact, I saw the first thing that popped up on my phone this morning was a Facebook memory from 3 years ago today, calling a basketball game with my 2CW broadcast partner, John McGraw. And the caption started with, "Now that 2CW is officially done forever." Oops. Yeah. I never say never, or never say forever, I guess. I don't know. But he and I will be back together in the booth next week. It is not a live broadcast. The only way to see it live is live in person.
That
So
I called a night of matches with John McGraw before. It was in Next Era Wrestling, I believe. I think that's what it was.
really, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't have anybody, so I came and did it. They asked if I would do it, so he and I sat up
With
there.
the John or John McGraw?
I thought it was John McGraw.
I
Maybe
feel like I because the John was the NEW guy, and
oh,
that
was
I
it?
did shows with, and I know you filled in there
Yeah,
because
maybe that was it.
I
Maybe
was doing it
I
there,
mean,
and I was missing about every other show for hockey stuff.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, John McGraw's a college hockey broadcaster out of Syracuse. Does Colgate and some ESPN Plus stuff and things like that. And so with the college hockey TV broadcast back in November, he did not do that show we did last year. So this will be the first time we do wrestling together since those 2021 shows that somehow are already 5 years ago.
Wow,
Just
that's
crazy.
crazy. Maybe you're right. It wasn't John McGraw. It was the John, which
Yeah.
I don't know the difference at times, when they have the same name. It's like the Rick. Remember the Rick? And there was Rick, and then there was the Rick. And
I enjoyed calling shows with both John McGraw and the John, but I could say they're very different styles from each other.
well, it's okay because if you ever call with me, I have no idea what's going on. So, which is good, I guess, but I can talk about nothing continuously. So, on that note, we're going to get out of here. I
On
want to
that
thank
note,
I want to
what a
thank you
way
guys.
to end the show.
No, was there anything more we wanted to get in before we get out of here?
I don't know. Any commercial sponsors we need to wedge in here?
Yeah, hold on. Where's the Mugs root beer mascot? Nobody ever lasts to this part of the show anyway. So I want to thank you guys. I usually try to get, I'll try earlier to get the local stuff in before, but thank you guys. And thank you guys in the chat room. Had a bunch of guys in the chat room. We got Jeff and Rennie, of course, and Demetrius. You remember Demetrius? He was the GM guy. He was the one who would do the Macho Man, I believe. He's in there as well. He's posting some messages. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see ya. If I can hit the stop button.